Welcome back, everyone. Mapo 4, I'm dreading, but also not really that much dreading. Touchdown's also here.
Yeah, hello.
Waiting for this map, I've started thinking that maybe, you know what, maybe the sector canopies are acceptable sometimes. But we'll see if I change my mind about it. Gameplay bars?
Yeah, this is a new addition because, well, actually, the first thing I should say is that this is actually the first level that I made for this back in 2014. And yeah, it was actually released, I think, in 2015. Might have even sent you like the early version of that at some point. And that version was absolute trash compared to this. So it's yeah, this one is much better. But yeah, it was actually released because at the time I actually thought that this would never be completed. So I was like, okay, if I have one level done, I might as well just release it. And yeah, I would not release it at that state today. But yeah, whatever. We have the good version now.
Quote unquote. I mean, I'm just kidding. It's fine. Let me just. I think someone is eating me from behind. Yeah, I think there's yes, a Spectre. Nearly called it a sector. A Spectre.
A sector-based Spectre.
Ooh. That's just doom cute of a level that I have never seen before.
I actually had to look up what Doom Cute is because I've heard you mention it and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, well, presumably now you know.
I'm out of the loop with this kind of terminology. Yeah, so one interesting thing is that because as you see, you kind of started at a lower level and you were going up. So there's some height variation here, which meant that the tree, like the top of the trees, also have height variation. And as you can probably imagine, that is just asking for some sky cutoffs.
Yep.
So I hope I have addressed all of them, but I definitely had some issues here because I really wanted to have this, like, I didn't want all of the trees to go to the same level, even if maybe that would make more sense. I like it better this way when they're like kind of more adjusted. I guess that they're the same height, depending regardless of the ground level. So yeah, that was kind of a hairy thing to do because it's pretty easy, believe it or not, to miss something in a level like this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So there are. I hope you don't find it. Well, if you find any, I'm just gonna fix them. But yeah, I think I addressed all of them.
I think.
I hope because I.
I think there is one.
Is that a cutoff? That's really. Yeah, maybe.
Is this geometry here is this supposed to be? It kind of looks kind of strange, like very sharp.
Yeah, I think it was intentional.
Interesting. Okay, well,
making this level was a giant mess. I'm trying to remember how I even started that. I think I tried doing like I would make a couple of trees, like a bunch of like how to call it, like a few clusters of trees, and then just kind of like rotate them, put them together, reshape them a little bit, and basically so that I didn't have to draw every single tree individually. I just did them once and then just kind of put together the rest of it by connecting them. Yeah, it was a giant mess, and I do not recommend making a level like this, and I will definitely not make something like this again because it's just impossible to control. Yeah, so the bars at the beginning, that's a new addition because when I made this level originally, this entire forest section at the beginning, it was completely open, and you didn't have to shoot because that's obviously the thing that you do to alert all the monsters. but that wasn't there before. And you could basically just, if you knew where to go, you could just run through this entire section. But that's one of the things that I did because this level is pretty short compared to the other ones, which I don't really mind. But at the same time, I didn't want it to be super short. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do some minor adjustments to basically make it so that you kind of have to explore more of this, and you have to alert all the stuff. You can't just run through it because otherwise you could just like completely skip this section.
Yeah, I think the amount of gameplay bars is kind of starting to be a bit funny. I wonder if that could be, I'm guessing that something somewhere that I haven't found yet is just closed until you like visit all these clearings and pick up all these things and initiate all the fights. And I wonder if whatever it is could be done. Oh hello, oh hello. Could have been done like more naturally, but I it's too early to guess right now.
Yeah, that's always a big problem because, like, I think I mentioned this in one of the previous recordings that at the very beginning I really, really wanted to make everything as natural as possible, with all the like like your path gets blocked or where you cannot go back for a while, and it's a nightmare trying to do this in a very natural way. So I kind of resigned to like, okay, I'm just gonna close the door behind because that's easier to do, and most people probably don't really mind that.
Yeah, I guess probably if you're playing Doom, probably you're used to gameplay bars in one way or another. Oh well.
Yeah, so this place, this particular place, was initially inspired by an area from Stalker Clear Sky.
Ah,
There was a part in the Red Forest. I've only played this game once, so
same.
I don't really remember exactly. But at the near the end, there was the Red Forest, and there was like a giant field. And for some reason, I kind of wanted to have something like that. It doesn't really look anything like it, but that was like the initial inspiration. And I thought of having something in the middle. Originally, that structure looked completely different, and it had these kind of like what would you call them? Like rings, but that are kind of broken into parts. I imagine them kind of rotating like the platforms in Half-Life 1 in that part with that everybody loves in Lambda Core with all the teleporters.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Like so of course it was stationary, but that was kind of something that I was imagining. But it looked really, really bad by my current standards, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna redo it. And I thought of having something like a portal or a rift in the sky, which is kind of like pretty obvious thing to do. And I actually discovered something that was pretty surprising to me, and that is that when you do sky transfers, which I did in that part, you actually, I don't know what the exact conditions are, but you need to have a sector between the two different skies because otherwise it's not going to work. I tried, well, it was one of the ideas to do like, how would you describe it? Like something irregular, like imagine like a scratch mark on the sky or something like that. And that would, of course, look better if it didn't have any like rim around it. But yeah, then I discovered, oh, it actually doesn't work if I do it this way. So I felt like a more regular shape would work better. And I think I did just a regular like portal in the sky, but then I turned it into a halo,
A donut.
a donut. Yeah. This part, this entire what I call the compound, was completely redone. Like there's almost nothing left from the original version. I completely just deleted almost everything here and recreated it from scratch because it was all garbage, both in terms of visuals and gameplay. So it's all brand new. I made it like last year, I think.
Once again, I really hope that you've preserved the garbage somewhere.
I have all the versions
Nice.
because the way I do things, because I'm paranoid about losing progress, I periodically when I work on this, but well, when I worked on this, I would periodically just back it up on an external drive, and then I would just save the same file with a different number. So I have all the versions I've ever had.
Interesting.
It's preserved.
Oh boy. Oh boy, this isn't gonna work. Go away. No, Well,
I think you might be dead.
yeah, that would have been really funny if Paint Chance worked for me there, but it didn't.
But yeah, it's kind of actually interesting because like the fights in what on the map is called the Darkwood, the deep forest that's with the three switches. That fight is pretty much exactly like it was 10 years ago. I don't think I changed anything in it. So like it's interesting that some parts I felt like okay, it's still cool, but others I had to redo completely. By the way, if you go back a little, you're gonna notice that there is, yeah, go back to the switch. There is an emergency medkit. Please, in case you have like one health after this fight, you can pick it up and run for the slime.
Very thoughtful. If only you were always so generous and everywhere. For some reason, at least in my experience, like the first judgment of how to do a fight is never correct.
Yeah, by the way, that music track is, I think it's one of the first ones that I made. Because, well, the first one was the theme. The second was for map 5. And that was in the trailer, the second trailer. And this was, I think, the third one that I started, so it's one of the earliest ones. I don't remember if I really talked about the music, like, much. I don't think because one thing that I wanted to say about the music, I might have said this before. I think I said this in the previous recording, that there were, originally I did not want to have any drums, because I wanted it to be all ambient. That's how I imagined it originally, but of course, yeah, that did not last long. Oh, that's nice.
Interesting ceiling. I was debating where I saved because I wanted to reload because I really screwed myself with that Hell Knight with the chainsaw, but apparently that was not a good idea. Oh well, I'll do better here now because I know that this place is here. It's a good place to hide.
Yes, and since you're redoing this, I'll say one more thing about the music. So obviously the big inspiration for me was music from Diablo 1, because it's like, well, it's one of my favorite soundtracks, but it's also a pretty good like thing to look into, because Diablo is also a game where you hear the same music like over and over, and somehow you don't get tired of it, even though the tracks are like 5 minutes long each, or 4, even sometimes. So one of the things that I've been doing is that like if you look at the Tristram music, the one that everyone knows, like everybody recognizes like the beginning of that, like the guitar, but that part only really appears at the very beginning, and then like there are like 3 or 4 different sections that are similar, but they all have different melodies. So the idea is that the music track has like 3 or 4 parts that are in the same style, but they're all different, and they don't repeat. And that was something that I tried to emulate with the music in Gossip. That, like, if of course it's looping, so you probably don't really know where the track ends and when it begins. But that's basically how it's done. So that there's one section, then there's another section that's different but in a similar style. Then there's another section, and it's like you have a mix of like the parts that are more ambient, parts that are more like upbeat, and that's all basically to like try to kill the monotony, and when it's all looping like 50 times when you play this.
I feel like there was just like some interdimensional magic happening here, because I feel like suddenly I'm in a completely different place, but maybe it's... I guess I came from here? Yeah, I came from here, okay. Because I feel like I press that switch and suddenly I'm like in the beginning of the level again. Oh, not the level, but this section, rather.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, well, I don't know what you mean. It's always been like this. This level has a very I don't even have a word for it. But the one secret that's in this level is I think I don't think anyone found it, and I don't think you're gonna appreciate it once I tell you how to get it.
I hope it's not an archwell jump because I.
Yeah. That's I hate anything that requires armspan jumps because well, as I always say, when you see an archvile, the first instinct is to kill it as quickly as possible and not just think like, oh, maybe there's some like place I can jump. So whenever people have secrets that require archvile jumps, I just like when I realize it requires an archvile jump, I just no clip, just out of spite, because I do not approve of that.
Yeah, fair enough. No, you could say that there are some places where it's pretty obvious, but then you know, like in TNT, in that one warehouse level where there's like a crate with a megasphere on it.
Yeah.
But you can always, you know, you can always assume that there's gonna be a teleport later or some other way to get
Yeah,
it.
that's the thing. It's like there in Doom, like there's an infinite amount of ways you can reach a place. Maybe the teleporter, maybe something will lower, and you don't know. So why would you assume that it requires an archvile jump? I mean, I again, it strikes me as something that like you're not gonna find on the first run. Like you're just gonna miss it.
Yeah.
On the first playthrough. By the way, that fight with the archviles I wanted to mention. You've noticed you had to press 2 switches to activate that fight. And it didn't used to be like this. At the very beginning, when I started playtesting, I basically made it so that there were cells on one end and rockets on the other. And my expectation was that, well, the player will just take all the resources and there were trigger lines. So basically you take both stacks of supplies and then the fight starts. But I had a playtester, basically, I saw a video, and he was basically, he for some reason refused to pick up those supplies. Maybe he had like too many rockets or something. And basically he kept running back and forth in this area for like 5 minutes because he didn't know what he needed to do to progress. And that kind of caught me by surprise. That's like, oh, like some people might just refuse to pick up something in order to, well, of course they don't know that it activates something, but I just assume that if you have like a couple of cell packs, you're gonna pick them up because you certainly are not gonna be maxed out here. So yeah, I didn't really see a good solution to this. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna put switches so that it's obvious what you have to do to progress here. But I'm not very happy with this solution. But yeah, this fight is I kind of like it because it's like originally it only had imps. I added Hell Knights so that it would be more difficult to break through, which didn't help. But yeah, so it's like it's mostly like it's not very hard, but like the difficulty comes from the fact that you have absolutely no supplies in the middle, so you kind of have to just like, well, ammo is not really a problem, but you don't have any health, so basically like you basically have to make it with 100 health.
Imagine if you could, like in this fight, imagine if you could like berserk punch an imp and get all health back again. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, of course it would be better.
Definitely.
I like set pieces with imps. I think I might have a bit too many, but imps are really cool because they are very weak. They can be killed easily with just about anything, and they don't deal a lot of damage. But if there's a lot of them, they kind of slowly chip away your health. So it's like it's easy to kill them, it's easy to break through them. But if you're completely careless, then you might actually take a lot of damage from them. And that you can't. There's no other monster like this because it's like Hell Knights and Revenants. They have too much health. You can't like break through them even with a plasma rifle.
It's kind of funny that, you know, there's no more monsters, but you still felt like, you know, why don't I have the players look around for buttons instead of just like opening the exit. Typical, typical.
Yep.
I'm very suspiciously looking at the center tree because I'm expecting it to have like a deco tree entrance kind of thing in it. But clearly I'm missing a button somewhere. I guess maybe, I wonder if there's like hints in how the grass is. Maybe. Ah, oh, ah. No, this is kind of funny. I'll be honest. The secret elevator and the giant tree, this is pretty funny.
That is undoubtedly funny. I kind of like this was, I think, inspired by, well, there's probably a lot of instances where that has happened, but I was thinking of Myst, the first one, on the initial island. There is like an elevator that is disguised as a tree. Well, it's not really disguised, it's just an elevator that looks like a tree. I was like, okay, it's pretty interesting. I don't know. Like, it's not very realistic, but it's cool, I think.
Yeah.
Have a secret entrance hidden, disguised as a big tree.
I was definitely expecting something more like fantasy style, like a dungeon inside of a tree.
Oh, there it is.
Huh. What did
But
I do to make this open?
I bet you would never figure out what you had to do.
Yeah, I definitely did. I have no idea what I did to make this.
I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you how to get it. Basically, remember that repeatable switch?
Uh-huh.
You had to press it after doing the final fight here.
Huh. I was actually, like, based on how you start that, I was expecting that we were gonna say, like, you had to press it like 3 times total.
No.
Maybe
that would have been better. I don't know.
That's kind of. Did that switch ever do anything else apart from the secret?
No, it's just like you can press it and you're like, what the hell is this switch for?
Huh.
But if you press it after this fight over here, then it's gonna open this secret with the armor. Yeah, so I wanted to mention, if you can go to this place that's right next to you, the other way. Yeah, here. So those blue lights, this is where the path used to be. This is through the path through which you entered this area. And and this is something that I did. It was a bit. It required a bit of effort, but basically, I didn't want to just close the wall and just like call it a day. Basically, so as you can see, every time there's a wall closed and where there used to be a passage, there's always either some lights or some machinery in front of it to just like drive the point that is like that, like the path was never here. So it's not just a wall closed and it's blocked, but it's like there's some additional stuff in front of that wall. And it was actually a bit more complicated than it may seem, because like those lights, I believe, are divided into like 3 sectors because of the ceiling architecture. So I had to make sure it actually works properly, because there were a bunch of sectors, way more than you might think when you just look at it, that had to like move instantly. So I like the effect because it's like it's pretty convincing, I think. Yeah, so this part, what I wanted to say about it is that it has it actually took quite a long time to make. As you can see that there's a shading on the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are like separate sectors. So there was a lot of work for an area that you see for like 2 seconds. I don't think anyone would really consider that reasonable to spend, like, even if it was like, I don't know, an hour or 2 making an area that is completely not useful for gameplay and that you see for like 2 seconds and you teleport away. You probably cannot even get a good look at it because you move and you immediately teleport. So
no, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, you know, considering the overall length of time that making this has taken, this is nothing, I'm assuming.
Yeah. But yeah, now you can see all the sectors,
Nice.
all the whatever gradients.
It's funny, looking at this, because I always do triangles, like for every line I just like do a separate triangle like this, instead of, and you're like joining them into this like little strip. Interesting.
But yeah, these rocks look really bad if they don't have that. Like, I mean, it doesn't bother me when it doesn't bother me like when I see something like this in other people's levels, but for my own stuff, I'm like, yeah, I have to do the shading. And you're gonna see more of that in later levels when, yeah, there's gonna be some of those such hills again, and I always use a little bit of shading just to make them less flat.
Good. Appropriate. I kind of want to ask something random. I don't think I remember seeing, there's the set of textures that look like just like stone blocks fallen on top of each other, like rock something. There's like the ones that were in Slow of Despair or in E4M2, and there's the brown ones. And there's the ones that, they're the ones that came from Wolfenstein and then also got transferred into Quake later. Those like rock textures. Do you, like, I don't feel like I've seen them so far. Do you use them? Do you enjoy those textures?
It is very, very likely I've never used that texture.
Wow. Because I've come, initially I was like, what the fuck is this texture? Everyone is using it for like mountains, and it looks nothing like what would be appropriate for mountains. But something just like snapped in me at some point, and now I'm a big fan of them. Okay, the only thing I can say is that I feel like in the atmosphere that this WOD has, I feel like it would serve this level a little bit if there was like random bits of civilization, like ruined little shack or like a little part of a building, like there's like little like a couple bricks just like remaining out like for some wall of some building that used to be here. It's like some random mysterious buildings in the middle of the woods that are long gone and like long destroyed. I feel like that would add a little bit to the atmosphere, and also slightly have a little bit of a like a little bit of a spice to like woods. Like, it's cool and I love woods, but in Doom, considering we have like 3 textures and 3 sprites, it's not quite as interesting as real life woods. So it could use a little spice, especially like in the first part, because in these parts you've got all these set pieces, but in the first part there's like nothing there. And this that's literally the only thing I can think of is like I would have added like some random bits of like ruined part, like traces of civilization somewhere. But that's not really a big thing. It's like literally I'm trying to think like what can I possibly think that be like a suggestion for any kind of improvement. So I guess that kind of tells you that it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I guess the only thing here is that the tunnel and the railroad. It's like a sign of civilization.
But yeah, pretty. It's like a break between the other levels. It's a pretty cool, pretty easygoing level.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was fun.
That's why I like that it's turned out this way, even though that was not the original plan. That you have a very long level, then you have this, which is significantly shorter and more straightforward, and then you have another big level that is even bigger and even longer.
Oh boy. I guess that's it. See you in map 5.
Yep.